What's up everyone? Garrett here with my latest and greatest Garrett Beard list. I really enjoyed playing this deck and this list particularly in the 3v3 event. I went undefeated in Peoria, and if you stay around to the end, you're going to see some tips and tricks that I recommend for next week's 3v3 in Pittsburgh. So check out my list. Alright, so I'm going to start with the Whitebeard package. One Newgate, nothing crazy here. 3 Ace. And for this event, I was on 3 Thatch. Thatch is just so good in the mirror and just an overwhelming card that's really hard to get rid of. And with other people not always playing my list, and if they aren't and they don't have the crossfire, it's really hard to remove. Even at 5, just getting aced, you can sometimes protect it, but at negging 4, there's just no way that card's surviving. So it's a really important card if you can get it out on curve particularly. Next we have 4 Marcos. I am at 4 Marcos now because of pretty much how prevalent Zoro's been. It's a great card to see on curve versus Zoro, and it's still good in a lot of matchups. Plus, on our 7 Don curve, we can crossfire Marco, still the Garrett Beard combo, and it still lives on. So we'll just keep rolling with that. And then we played 1 Marco blocker, as per the rules. You know, we're not gonna cheat here. And then 2 Atmos. Nothing special there. I only played 3 Jozu, and I'll show you why in a bit. And then 2 Fossa. And then 4 Ezo. So in this list, I played 4 Ezo, 4 Nami. I wanted 8 searchers so I could have little guys on board that I could swing into Zoro's little stuff. That's really the point of them. And shockingly enough, I took out Makinos for this event, and I'll tell you why at the end. But let's get into the Straw Hat package. I played 2 Luffy. Nothing special there. 2 Frankie. So I split up my vanillas on my 4 Don curve because I'm also playing 2 Zoro. Now that's a little new, and I'll tell you why I thought Zoro was the move here instead of my usual Nico Robin. Nico Robin's a very good card and very good into the meta, but in a 3v3 event, you have the opportunity to see more rogue decks at the very end of the tournament because, you know, you can be carried by a Whitebeard, you can be carried by a Zoro, and just the chances I could run up into something random, Zoro will always have use. I can play it down on any turn pretty much once I'm at 3 Don. If I play it down on curve, it applies so much pressure because I'm getting a 5 swing in and a 6 swing in, and I can still play it on my 4 Don curve if I don't have one of these vanillas. Zoro's perfectly able to go swing for 6, and so is my leader for 6. So that's a lot for your opponent to have to deal with and discard from hand that early in the game. Now here's where I switched up some 2K stuff. I played 4 Luffy's instead of Makino. I played 4 Sanjis as well, 1 Chopper only, 4 Namis, and 1 Otama. So let me explain this to you. So in this event where I felt consistency was gonna be the most important thing, where I could see some random decks and I could, because of my seeding, which I'll explain in a second, see certain kinds of decks, that this was the best way to approach it. Let me just be consistent. Let me get so many hits off of Nami. I believe both searchers had like 20 or 21 hits. So super consistent. I didn't whiff once on the day, and it was really good. And the 1 of Otama, it could be the 4th Jozu, but I like just 1 Otama for the simple reason of making my Marcos better. I can remove a 5-drop, an annoying blocker, and a Marco in the mirror. But Otama also gives you value by lowering a character that's rested and swinging into it. Sometimes that's just more lucrative than pushing for the game or pushing tempo or anything like that. So I like the 1 of Otama. If you don't see it, no big deal, who cares? If you see it, great, it's still a 2K and it still has an ability. So now on to the events. We'll start with my Straw Hat events, which was 1 Radical, 4 Guard Point, and then 2 Crossfire for my Whitebeard search. So Crossfire, once again, I love that Ezo can grab it. You know, Ezo does not have the most defensive hits. That's why we play more Whitebeard blockers and still the 3 Jozu 2Ks. But Crossfire gives you an event that you can grab to neg 4 on any character. Now, the best matchup for that card is Law. I will mulligan for that card against Law. It really ruins their restand turn, where they will try to, let's say, put 6 Don on a Supernova, play down Law restand, and do it again. Well, if you play Crossfire, you neg that character for the entire turn by 4k. It's pretty easy to get out of 8k swings once you do that. So it's a really good card. I love it, and I totally recommend using it. And it combos so well with the Marco as well, and even the Newgate if you get that far in the game. But I really liked this list. It performed super well. Zoro overperformed for me. The 2Ks were so searchable. I didn't whiff once. So it worked really well, and here's why. In a 3v3, depending on where you sit, can dictate your matchups, right? So for this event, Jackson was in seat A playing Zoro, Cody was in the middle playing Dofi, and I was on seat C playing Whitebeard. And I'll explain why we did it this way. So we thought seat A would be like the most rogue. So we thought, let's put Jackson against that, and Zoro can handle rogue the best. We thought the most meta decks would be in the middle, being Whitebeard and Zoro. Dofi can give both those decks a really hard time, so hence why Cody's there. And then C, we thought that would be where if the Whitebeard player was in the middle, they'd be right to the next of them, and I have a good shot, as much of a shot as Jackson at least to be playing them. And I haven't lost in the mirror since the restriction list has been dropped. So we felt very confident with me in the mirror and whatever rogue deck I could see. And I did see a few. I saw a couple kids, played a lot against 2 Laws, played against 2 Whitebeard mirrors. So definitely a variety of decks that I saw, and 1 Zoro. And I ended up going undefeated on the day, didn't drop 1 single game. And then, you know, if you guys are going to the 3v3 next week, I recommend just giving this list a try. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, no worries. You know, there's always a Whitebeard list for you. As I say, you can pretty much put any, 50 cards in the deck to go with the leader. That works best for you. This one just allowed me to apply a lot of pressure and have in-game serviceability with the Zoro, the Luffy, the Jozu can rush, the Ace can rush. So out of nowhere, I can gain some tempo and some advantage. Good luck, guys. And if you're going to a 3v3, I wish you the best, and I hope you guys have as much fun as I did.